Greetings, everyone. I'm Jeff Rhodes with Crossroads Consulting, where we help businesses outsource, grow, and protect their assets. And that's one of the key elements of our new project, Tales from the HR Crypt. We tell funny stories, actual stories, but there's an educational element to it from an HR perspective. This third episode is Case of the Flasher. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it does involve potentially sexual harassment. It does involve potential ADA and some other elements of HR. Take notes. These are some of the things that come up in the workplace, and this stuff will help protect your business. So enjoy this segment, Case of the Flasher.
So we're going to get on with our third one here. And this one we titled The Flasher. I'm just going to leave it at that.
The Case of the Flasher.
The case of the flasher, yes. So at this point in my career, I was working in an unclimatized, very old and dilapidated building, and it was manufacturing. And it was the dead of the summer, and we were having a heat wave, and it was stagnant air, astronomical humidity. And the best we could do for our folks was give them, Gatorade, a couple extra breaks. And we had pretty much every outlet had a fan just to try to move some air. Well, this woman, we'll call her Samantha. She was in a very physically demanding job to begin with, and then you add in the heat wave and everything. So she come busting into my office. Now my door was open, but when I say busting into my office, she didn't stop, she didn't knock, she didn't say hello, she didn't say, hey, do you have a second? She just walked in there like a bull in a china shop, sat down in my chair and started talking with lots of profanity about how hot it was. And she was a colorful character to begin with, and how miserable it was, and that we needed to do better. And I listened and showed compassion and empathy. And then the next thing you know, she grabs her t-shirt, pulls it up over her head as she's saying, see, it's so damn hot, I can't even wear a bra. Full frontal.
So you were flashed.
Full frontal. And as this is processing, I am trying to, in an instant, realize what's going on. Fortunately, as I saw it coming up, I don't care. I Samantha, please, Samantha, please. And didn't really need the visual, but I do believe you.
So
Go ahead.
I
think we're on a different track.
It's great, isn't it?
I'm not going there.
It's just great.
So it leaves a whole new meaning to open door policy, right? I mean,
It does. And we had an open door policy, and my door was physically open, and she could have come in at any time. We could have the same conversation. And this one is a highly entertaining story, and it was a bizarre experience because she had a very brash way of communicating. And she's on the shop floor, so you got to give a little wiggle room for shop talk with a little profanity here or there.
right.
She's frustrated, and she's hot, and she's miserable, and she's tired, and we're working overtime. And so I get it. But the moral of this one is you just never know how your employees are going to communicate, and communication styles vary. I had conversations with Samantha at different times, and yes, she was still kind of in your face and a little curt, but calmer and still direct, but calmer and easier going. So in the moment, at this moment, she had it, and she was going to let anybody who
Yeah.
comes across her path know.
So she went over her tipping point, but you know what? Listening to the story, it sounds like a legitimate complaint. I
It
mean, the
was.
work environment has to be maintained, does it not?
Absolutely. We were doing the best we could in the space that we had. Obviously, we can't control the weather and the heat waves. We had brought in extra fans. We had, again, scheduled extra breaks. We had brought in big Gatorade coolers of water and Gatorade and etc. We were giving them popsicles and various things to try to maintain body temperature. And we were concerned because we didn't want anyone with
Yeah.
heat exhaustion,
Well,
right?
it wasn't slave labor or anything like that, but
Absolutely.
all right. So I have a question. All right.
Yes.
Let's say it was me as the HR director, a guy, and she comes in and she does this. Where do I go other than, whoa, where do I go?
So that is stop it, polite, nice. And then I would recommend that you find a female leader to engage the three of you. It's probably the safest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you're bordering on, again, sexual harassment,
Well, yeah.
right?
Well, what you certainly don't want to happen is, and it could be that the door's wide open and there's nothing with you as the HR director or Samantha, but someone could walk by. They could see something, take it out of context,
Right.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
next thing you know, you're having an affair, and it's the talk of the whole company, and things can.
Or she tells me that she's developed a rash down there, and I say, well, show me. So
Yeah,
she did.
yeah. You just never know where people will go.
But
You know what?
the work environment, though, if she's got a legitimate complaint, it could lead to health issues.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did not at the time disclose any pre-existing conditions. It was just as far as her own health. And had she, then we would have engaged in conversations back to the Americans with Disabilities Act about how we can accommodate based on her situation and doctor's recommendations. But this was just very simply an employee who was fed up, hot, and gonna make her point.
Right. Provide her some ice packs and go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she reached a breaking point, but workplace safety, workplace safety, you hear about complaints all the time. Well, I was injured because the workplace isn't safe. I slipped and fell, or I cut myself on a machine because the guard on that machine, and being in the manufacturing side, as much as you have the equipment, the maintaining of the equipment, the guards, the safety protocol is critical. But if you put yourself in her position, how would you have handled it if you were in her shoes?
Had I been in her shoes, I would have discussed it first with my line leader. But I also would have understood this is an unusual heat wave we're having. The facility is not air conditioned, and we were at the tail end and getting ready to relocate to another facility that was air conditioned. So we knew it was short lived, and everybody was happy about it. It was just one of those times, again, a lot of pressure, high orders, working overtime, the heat, the exhaustion, and
Yeah.
she had just had all she could handle. So just beware. Employees are going to tell you things, but you just never know how they're going to deliver them.
Oh, yeah.
I think sometimes owners and upper level management, they may miss some things that are fairly obvious, like the heat in the workplace, or they may not consider the ramifications of a poorly functioning facility.
Right.
Did you see anything along those lines with leadership?
With this particular company at this particular time and these leaders, no, not really. They were very engaged. They were on the floor. They knew the working conditions. They were walking around checking on their folks. They were,
Right.
you look tired. Hey, you need to take a break. I want you off of here
Oh,
for 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So very engaged, but I can absolutely see how that could have been very different. And I've seen that in other companies where the leaders are in their cushy little air conditioned
ah,
office and the it's dead of the summer and they're, let's say, on the loading dock, your team's busting their butt. They're wringing wet with sweat. They're exhausted. So it's important for leaders to know what their people are doing, check in on them, ask questions, make observations, and not lead from your office.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Great point. Because
Exactly.
certainly the leaders are in a air conditioned office, right? And
More often than not, yes.
yeah, and you lose touch with what your employees. Man, Billy and I have worked with major corporations, publicly traded, and senior leadership will place some directives on the staff, whether it's sales or what. And you'll scratch your head sometimes. Being in sales, we're instructed and trained on what to do, but some of the things that come down from leadership, I had a full head of hair, and it wasn't because, I mean, there were things that came down from leadership that just didn't make sense.
Yeah, they're completely out of touch
Yeah.
with, trying to make themselves sound smart, and they were completely out of
So
touch.
you got to know the environment, that your employees.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're just waiting for something bad to happen to your company.
Yeah, and maybe just something to tuck away is when a company is setting goals and objectives, it really works best if you create that from the bottom up.
Right.
Yeah.
Top down, you often have these huge gaps that there's a huge disconnect. And
Yeah.
if the people doing the work actually have input, even if it's not exactly the way they want it, they're more likely to buy into it and strive to it as well, even if it is a stretch goal. So
Yep.
bottom up works better every time.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Once again, we are Crossroads Consulting. I'm Jeff. He's Billy. We're available to talk to you about any issues that come up with regards to your business. Our business model is to help you find solutions. There's no cost, there's no obligation to talk to us. You've seen some of the interviews that we've done. We have a lot of resources that we can bring to the table. We welcome you the opportunity to talk to you about your business and some of the challenges that you're facing now. We'll do our best to find the solutions. Again, there's no cost, no obligation.